All right, so third time's a charm. Apparently I had my headset on, so you couldn't hear anything I was saying. My name is James. I'm part of the NCA National Citizens Alliance. We are a federally approved party in Canada. Today I'll be talking about taxation and deficit and what it relates to Canada's today, and just an honest perspective of both sides of the aisle in respects to the Liberals and the Conservatives. It's interesting to note that as of December 22nd, we hit our $1 trillion deficit mark, which is pretty substantial for a country of our size, as well as our $462 billion in spending this year. A lot could be said to that. It went to some good services, especially healthcare. We needed that this time of year. And then it's good to note that post 1968, actually, the Conservatives had spent $490 billion to that point, up until July 15th, 2020. So that's kind of a big deal. Whereas, the Conservatives gave Justin Trudeau a blank check and said, you know what, you have up until that time to spend, and then we're going to hold you accountable. Which is kind of crazy, especially when you see how much money he was sending overseas to countries that need it. But just the proof of the countries actually getting it is another thing, and not just those shell companies. When we're talking about the federal deficit, we're talking about interest rates. So our interest rate as Canada is over $1 billion a day. That's a pretty big deal. I don't even begin to understand how they expect to get out of that hole, even with the reemergence of the economy after all this is over. It's mind-blowing. And we as the NCA, in our policies, we've stated that our first step would be buying back all of our country's debt and putting it solely in the hands of the Bank of Canada, and having public oversight into spending to make sure that we're not recklessly spending, and not only us, but any government post us, in respect to, making sure that our country is fiscally responsible and we don't run into this same problem again. We also want to go back to the gold standard, which is something that a lot of countries are attempting to say they're not going to do at all. It's very interesting to watch more and more videos of them opting out on the gold standard. So back in 1944, they all signed an agreement stating that they were going to go with the gold standard, with a centralized bank, sat in the United States, and it allowed currency to stay kind of even keel. And then in 1970, they signed a new deal, moving away from that, and kind of put us into our situation of what we are in today, financially speaking. Not only us, but the world, owing the world banks hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars, and everybody's going, well, who do we owe this money to? Well, there you go, right there, the world banks, and whoever funds the world banks. That's one thing that the NCA would like to do. The other thing is we would like to, obviously, if we got into office, we would cut taxes. I think that's the biggest one, and have stimulus packages in there too. It's one thing to have a stimulus package but keep taxes the same. You don't have the same overall effect. The idea is to get that money into the economy as fast as possible and retain it into the economy, as well as helping people get out of low income and get back to an actual middle class that succeeds, and not a middle class that is kind of considered, I still have to pick whether I'm putting food on the table or I'm paying for my hydro bill that is stupidly high right now. Equal to point out that the carbon tax as well, we would eliminate. We do have ideas in the works in regards to helping with our carbon footprint, as well as sticking to the banning of plastics, but over time, not right away, not within 1 year. I mean, we have ideas into place right now that can really help that situation over the long term, and not only for Canada but for the world. And I think that would be a huge world staple that we would be looking for. I just wanted to keep this video as close and short as possible. So again, if you like this video and you'd like the information, like it, share it, and if you really like what I had to say today, go to www.nationalcitizensalliance.ca. Take a look at our policy, some of our videos we have posted there, and if you are really in with the cause and want to make a difference, sign up and join our team. We need lots of people. We need to have our voices heard. The more of us there are, the better chance we have. All right, thanks.